turn around and just tease me.
Hi guys, it's your girl Bianca coming to you from the Beatrice brand with another tutorial. Today we switched it up a little bit and I am going to show you how I achieved this look on my client Miss Shamaya. So if you would like to see how I got this video, just stay tuned guys. All right, so we're going to jump right in with her brows. As you guys know, I always start off with the brows first. It's just easier for me. So I'm going in with my RK by Kiss Brow Pencil. This is their Go Brow Eye Pencil in the shade Dark Brown. I'm just going to start off just like I do my brows, guys, by brushing my natural hairs up and just filling in or lining the natural shape of my brow. Not really trying to change the shape of her brow because she has nice, thick, full brows. But we do want to get them nice and on fleek or sleek or whatever the terminology is. So as you can see here, I'm just lining the natural shape of her brows, and then periodically you'll see me use the spoolie just to kind of brush that product through her brows so that they're not too harsh and the product is evenly distributed all throughout her brow and it looks nice and clean. Once I do that and fill them in, I'm going to go in with my LA Girl Pro Concealer. And I believe I mixed the shades Espresso and Fawn together just to create a nice highlight under her brow. We don't want to go too bold with this because, of course, we don't want to take away from the eye look. And I just don't like that halo look above or underneath of the brow, that very highlighted look where you can just see where you place the concealer. So we want a nice clean transition between concealer shades and the eyeshadow shades. So here I am. I'm just going to clean up her second brow, and I'm just going to try to get her brows as even as possible. We all know the saying, brows are sisters, not twins, but you want them to look close, you know, as possible as we could possibly get them. So I'm just going to go in with that concealer, and as you guys can see, I am pulling that product down because we're going to use that as a base to kind of cancel out the discoloration on her eyes. So as always, before we do that, I am going to go in and I'm just going to clean up the top of her brow. This step is optional, guys, but I just think it looks and makes a really clean, it just makes the brows look nice and clean and sharp when you do this. I did cut a little too deep, so you'll see me with my brow pencil just going back in and filling in the areas in which I accidentally came down too far. And then I'm going to just take my brush and I'm just going to buff this out into her skin. Again, you want to really make sure you are blending because you want to avoid having that halo effect over top of your brows. It's not a cute look, sis, at all. I will judge you if I see that. So yeah, I'm just going to try to clean up her brows a little bit and make them nice and even as I possibly can. Okay, now guys, we're going to jump into priming her lids. The concealer is going to do two things. It's going to serve as a primer for our eyeshadow base, but it's also going to cancel out any discoloration on her eyelids. Like most of us with deeper skin tones, we typically have dark eyelids, so we want to just brighten it up a little bit. So that way, the pigments or the eyeshadows that we place on the lid, it just shows up a little better. So here you'll see me take my Laura Mercier translucent powder and just kind of set that concealer so we don't have to worry about creasing or anything of that nature. I use a little bit of this powder because we don't want to be too drastic with that translucent powder. So now, guys, per usual, and I'm sorry, I promised the next video I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going in with my Juvia's Place, the Saharian 2 palette, and I'm going to go right in with that shade Taza. And then I'm going to go in with that burgundy shade right underneath of it in her crease, which is Zora. Taza is more of that orangey brownish shade. And then Zora is going to be that deep burgundy shade you see me putting in her crease. So now, just to deepen the crease just a little bit, I am going to go in with another Juvia's palette. And guys, the reason why I use Juvia's Place is, one, is just her palettes are really inexpensive. And two, you're getting great quality. So on camera and photos, just if you're not taking pictures, it's just overall amazing eyeshadow. The pigments, the colors, everything is just amazing. So now I'm going to go in with another palette by Juvia's Place, which is the Magic palette. And I'm going in with that dark blue, which is called Yeji or Yeji. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, but it's in the Magic palette. So now we're going to do a cut crease on Shamaya. We are doing a drastic look today because it is her birthday. So we want to go full glam. And I'm going to take my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02. And I'm just going to start to cut her crease. I absolutely love doing this on clients with big eyelids because you could just do whatever you want. And again, we were going for a full glam, disco, unicorn, whatever look you want to call it, because it is her birthday. So yeah, we're going to get her nice and cute. And so you just want to take your time when you attempt to do a cut crease because this can go so many different ways, and it is easy to get out of control with these cut creases, especially if you're not taking your time. So you want to get a small brush, or even if you get a bigger brush, you just want to make sure it's nice and flat, and you want to make sure that when you start to cut your crease, you're doing small, light strokes because that's going to give you the most precise line possible. If you start off with long strokes, you might not get the shape that you want. One lid might be higher than the other, or it just may get messy and not really be nice and sharp. So just take your time with small strokes. If you have to go back in with your product, that's what you have to do. But just really take your time when doing so. So as you can see here, I'm kind of just setting that product a little bit because we don't want her eyelids too wet. And I'm kind of just cleaning up my line and just getting the desired shape that I want, just taking my time. So here I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and making sure that both eyes kind of have the same shape and that, I'm getting them as even as I possibly can. And then I'm not adding any more product to the brow, to the eyelid. I'm kind of just using that Laura Mercier, whatever is left on my buffing brush. I'm kind of just using that to set the lid. So that way it's not too wet when we start to lay down our pigments and our eyeshadows. So now you'll see me going in with this light. It's like a whitish, silverish shade. It's by the Mayo Makeup. Mayo, it's like MYO Makeup on Instagram. This is their colorful stack. The names, unfortunately, does not have the pigments don't really have a shade name. So I'm sorry about that. But it's, if you look them up on Instagram, they're like Mayo Makeup. And they have a bunch of different like highlighted pigments and things of that nature. Now I'm going in with this pretty blue. This is Coconut by ColourPop. This is one of their Super Shock shadows. And I've had this color for a while and I always forget how beautiful it is, how beautiful of a blue it is. So I'm just going to merge that in with that silverish shade there. This is just going to be our base for the glitters that we put down on Shamaya's eye today. So you'll see me just blending these two as much as I possibly can just to lay down this base and, like I said, get prepared for the glitter that we're going to put down on her eye today. So I've started going in with my glitter, and I am using Lashed by Dollface glitter again. So I've mixed 3 different glitters because we were really going for like a dramatic, disco, platinum, kind of like unicorn vibes. So I went in with platinum, the glitter. It's a chunky glitter. It's nothing that I would lay down by myself. It almost looks like fish scales, but it's pretty because of the iridescent colors. And then I'm also going to mix it with Oasis, which is a pretty, I would say like aqua blue glitter, and that's like medium. They're not too fine, but they're not too chunky as well. And then I'm going in with a fine glitter, which is called Denim. So I mixed all 3 of these glitters together to kind of add the mixture that's on her eye there, which I thought would be really, really nice with the silver and blue that she already had laid down on her eye. So I am going in with my NYX. This is one of their glitter liners, and this is the shade Dramatic Sparkle, I believe. And it's like that blue. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Crystal Pewter. So it's a Crystal Pewter liquid crystal liner by NYX. And it's like a really pretty silverish blue. I'm adding that on top of the shadow, but I'm also using that as a primer for our glitter. So that way, when it dries down, I don't have to worry about putting anything additional on her eyelids, making it feel heavy. I can just use the adhesive that's already in this glitter liner. And then I'm going to put that the glitters on top of that liner. So that's how we're getting it to really sparkle the way that we like. So now I'm going in with my Inglot gel liner in the shade number 77. This is hands down my favorite gel liner to use. Even though it's not as convenient to get, you do have to order it online. I still love this stuff, and it just lasts, and it's nice and black, and it just looks good. No matter how or when you use it. So now we're going in with foundation. I am going in with my go-to foundation when I don't want to be too dramatic, but I still want beautiful coverage. And I am using the shade Black Walnut by Black Opal. This is their True Color Pore Perfecting Liquid Foundation. This is a drugstore foundation, guys, so it's easily accessible. And it, like I said, it's going to give you a nice, beautiful coverage. It's not going to give you too drastic, but you will be beat for the gods if you want this foundation. So whether you want to do something a little natural, whether you want to go for full glam, you can definitely utilize this foundation. But again, I don't want to go too heavy because I want to make sure that the attention is her eyes. So now we're going in with that LA Girl Pro Concealer again, and we're going in with 2 shades. We're going in with Beautiful Bronze, and I put a little bit more fawn so that it can be a little bit more golden to really highlight under her eyes, her forehead, her cupid's bow, chin, and her nose. So I'm going to use that same foundation brush, and I'm just going to buff this all out for you guys. Well, not for you guys, but I'm going to buff this all out so that there's no harsh lines where the concealer ends and where the foundation starts. So we just want to make sure that the concealer is blending perfect and seamless into her foundation. Okay. Like I stated in my last video, the purpose in doing this is to assure that we're bringing some of our natural features back into our face. So if you ever looked in the mirror and looked at your face, you would notice how the center of your face is a little bit more lighter than the perimeter of your face. Okay, so that's why we do that. So just taking our time, blending this out so that it can be nice and seamless with her foundation. You'll also see me going in and cleaning up her liner, her wing liner just a little bit. She didn't want it too dramatic. I was trying to go super dramatic on her, but she didn't want it too dramatic. Hey, okay, I see you. So I made sure to cut it down a little bit for her and just clean it up so at least it's still nice and sharp. So I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte setting powder or face powder, and this is in the shade, I don't know if these have shades, but I'm assuming 50 or 501. That's the only shade that I see on here, guys. And I'm just going to set her face with all the areas that we highlighted. And then I'm also going to go back in with that Laura Mercier powder. I'm only using a little bit because I want to make sure that she's really set. But I like to put down the L'Oreal powder first, so that way it's not too cakey and it's not that translucent powder isn't changing like the shape of her the color of her foundation. We don't want it to be like super pale or anything like that, although it's translucent, but you know. So now I'm going in with my Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette. This is the Dark to Deep palette. And I am, of course, going in with the shade Contour on her. And I'm just going to bronze up and contour her face a little bit. Again, I'm not going too heavy, guys, because I really want the attention to be on her eyes. And I'm not trying to make her look like she's in full drag, okay? We definitely don't want that. You got to know when to balance it. So I'm going to go back in with that powder from L'Oreal, and I'm just going to kind of wipe away that translucent powder that we laid down and just really bring some of that color back into her skin. So setting the rest of her face with this powder. Next, I'm going to go back in with my Inglot Gel Liner in the shade 77. And I'm just going to line her waterline with this because I want it really smoky for this look. I want to make it nice and black, so we're definitely going to heavily line her waterline, and then we're just going to go in and set it with some shadow. So we're going to jump back into that Magic palette, and you'll see this coming up shortly where I'm going back into a shadow, and I'm using that Yegedy color from the Magic palette. So basically the colors that I use on her eyes, and I'm just going to use that to smoke it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go back into the Saharian palette, and I'm going to use that Tiza shade, which is that burnt brownish orangish color, just to smoke it out a little bit more. Next, I'm just going to coat her bottom and top lashes with some mascara, so that way, you know, we can prep her top lashes for some falsies, and then we can just bring out the bottom lashes there. So you definitely want to put your mascara on before you apply your falsies, because you don't want to damage your falsies or cake them up with product, and then it's harder to clean them later on. And that also takes away from the amount of uses, especially if you buy a nice pair, that takes away from the uses that you can, how many times you can use them. So now I'm going in with lashes. She did supply her own lashes, so I'm not sure if I'm getting the company's name right, but I believe she got this from Eye Candy Cosmetics. I believe it's on Instagram, Eye Candy, and I do know the style was good and plenty. So if you find Eye Candy Cosmetics or Eye Candy Lashes on Instagram, the style was good and plenty. And so now I'm going in with her lipstick. I'm going in with the liquid lipstick by ColourPop in the shade Anyways, because, you know, she probably trying to turn up for her birthday or whatever. So, yes, we are going in with Anyways because anything is possible. And then I'm going to spray her face with the Mario Badescu setting spray. I was going to say setting powder. And the shade, it's like the lavender one. And she was just reading the bottle because she's like, oh, yeah, I really like this stuff. Lavender is my favorite. So, yeah, you know, educate your client. So now I'm going in with my Juvia's Place loose highlighter, and this is the Royalty 1 by Juvia's. And yeah, this is the finished look. She got her unicorn vibes going on with the hair and the makeup, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Mwah.